this is like my favorite album at the moment, and I love it so much.
Since Harry Styles is such a big fan of Harry's House, it's time I listen to the album. They might know the deal by now, but I'm going to give you my first listen reaction to each track, and along the way we're going to hear what Harry has to say about each song, so let's not waste any time and enter Harry's House.
Green eyes, fried rice, I could cook an egg on you.
I wish I'd done a live reaction to music from a sushi restaurant. I put on the song and I was kind of just not totally paying attention. And then when the vocals came in, I thought, oh, Harry has a featured female artist starting off this song. And that's not an insult. And then after listening to the song, I thought, oh, did I turn on the wrong album? Did I somehow not hit play on Harry Styles? I am flabbergasted right now. I was going to say blown away, but that's not even a big enough word. Flabbergasted is a good word.
Just a little taste.
This is unlike anything we've heard from him before. He just out-Lizzo'd Lizzo. It's got a feel of Bruno Mars. It's pure funk. What a way to start off the album.
It becomes really obvious, like, what's the first song you play to people when they be like, oh, can I hear a bit of the music? It's like, how do you want to set the tone?
I'm not going to go wrong.
There was something about sushi that felt like, that's how I want to start.
Well, tone is set. I don't know where we go from here, but that was a spectacular opening.
When we moved into the studio, first day, we were out late night talking.
We've been doing all this late night talking.
Then got to make the whole of the rest of the album being like, we have that.
Anything you wanna till the morning.
Second track, Late Night Talking, we're staying in that funky vibe. And I love that Harry is just taking on a completely different musical genre, and it just fits him so naturally. I'm definitely very happy, Harry.
If you're feeling down, I just wanna make you happier, babe.
1, 2.
I can't be the only one who immediately thought of Madonna's Medellin with that opener.
1, 2.
But track 3 isn't a cover, it's an original piece called Grape Juice. I know this is already a fan favorite because I saw, like an hour after the album came out, this song was trending. That kind of surprised me a little bit. Like, out of the 3 tracks I've heard so far, I would put this as trend number 3. It's still a decent song, but yeah, it's my, if I was ranking the first 3 songs, this would be number 3 for me. But then the harmonies in that chorus.
There's just no getting through.
Beautiful. So yeah, enjoyable track, and I love the fans love it. It's just, yeah, I wouldn't put this as my fave out of the 3.
Like, as it was to me, it's like really devastating.
Yeah.
And it was very much written that way.
It's not the same as it was.
Track 4, the first single, a song that I liked when it first came out, but it's definitely grown on me. And I remember saying when it did come out, like, it wasn't an explosive single in that, like, it really like grabs you on a first listen, but it was going to be one of those songs that might really create an earworm in a couple weeks, and that's what it did. Yeah, it's one of those songs that earworm gets in your ear, it settles in, and yeah, it's a fantastic song.
Nobody's coming to help.
Are you surprised that Harry originally wrote it as a ballad?
And it's very like, in this world. You start playing a drum beat that's faster than that, and you're like, this could work.
It's not the same as it was.
Daylight Comes at track 5.
I was nose bleeding, looking for life out there.
It's one of my favorites. One of those songs where I think it very much captures a moment of what was happening in the studio. I think it was, we were kind of all talking about going to bed, and then we started this song, and it felt like, okay, if we go to bed and do it tomorrow, it's not going to be the same.
Now, I already did a whole segment about Harry swiftly shooting down the theory that it's about Taylor Swift. You can go check out that segment right there. But yeah, I really like this track. It's got a really cool groove to it. I love the layered vocals.
Daylight, you got me crushing the daylight.
What is interesting too is while it has this really smooth groove, some of the instrumentation has a real punch to it. Like, it's really kind of jarring. So it's a really interesting juxtaposition the song has going on musically.
Little freak, Jezebel.
Little Freak is number 6 From the title, I thought we were going to get like a playful, fun song, and Harry revealed at the Apple Music album release party that the way the song was written was unexpected too.
The only thing better than doing this is doing this with friends, and I feel very lucky that I get to do that. This was kind of the epitome of that. It was just two friends in a hotel room doing not what you might think two friends in a hotel room would be doing.
I was thinking about who you are.
The ballad is quite powerful. Musically, it definitely sounds like what we heard from Harry on the first two albums, so it's not as revelatory as some of the other tracks we've already heard, but clearly it's already a fan favorite.
See that?
Harry was impressed that fans could sing along to it 19 hours after the album came out.
Just thinking about you. You can let it go. You can throw a party full of everyone you know.
Matilda is track number 7, and this one really hit me. It's really pulled back production-wise. I mean, we just really have Harry's voice and acoustic guitar and some vocal layering.
Don't have to be sorry for leaving and growing up.
I find it fascinating when an artist takes a real person or character that we know and puts them into a song. Like, I think of Amy Grant referring to Jim Carrey in Curious Thing. There's Chantal Kreviazik's Julia, the Ode to Miss Roberts. And then the best example, Miranda Lambert's Tin Man, one of the best songs ever written. So yeah, it's a really cool idea for Harry to take Matilda.
From Roald Dahl book of like, okay, disguise it as imagine Matilda as like a grown-up.
Matilda, you talk of the pain like it's all alright.
I like that it was this personal story to me about someone else being able to say, like, this thing is more important than me just making music about myself.
I guess it was written for a friend of mine that I felt like needed to hear something, and if there is anyone in the audience tonight who feels like this applies to them, it does.
But I know that you feel like a piece of you's dead inside.
Who came in tonight to dance? This is Cinema!
With track 8, Harry picks up the tempo and demonstrated some dance moves for Cinema.
You are in love, clearly. From this, I can see this is real love. Is this a dangerous thing to do, to write a song about a woman? Because you always run the risk of breaking up with her, and then you have this song, and this is such a love song.
On the Howard Stern show, Howard approached the topic of girlfriend Olivia Wilde.
I think when, most of the time when I write songs, they kind of start out just...
And this was how Harry talked for the next 40 seconds.
And then it's less so, I guess it's
not really about her, but it kind of is. Like, I have empathy for him because, yeah, he wants to keep the relationship private, and as he should. But it's just funny trying to hear him, like, stumble away through some kind of answer.
I think is really, I guess it's like the most you can kind of capture a moment is kind of being true to that. So
I'll admit I was ready to say that I didn't really dig Cinema, and then this happened. John Mayer on that guitar. This section might be my favorite on the album.
Before we play the next song for you, I'd like to say another thank you to my good friend and producer, Mr. Tyler Johnson.
I am jamming to track number 9. Daydreaming is definitely going on the summer playlist.
Tyler first sent me a voice note for this song. I think it was called Idea on the 101 Rough. It's no longer called that, thank God.
I'll be gone for so long.
But I haven't stopped singing it since. This is Daydreaming. Thank you, Tyler.
Give me something to dream about.
If you see me riding my bike on the streets of Toronto this summer, just assume I'm listening to this song. And this breakdown, so good. At number 10, Keep Driving is a pretty little ditty, but in an album of mostly standouts, a decent song like this just comes across as filler, but that's a really good problem to have.
I would ask, should we just keep driving?
Orbiting at track 11 is Satellite.
It starts as if it's going to be quite sad.
Go round and round, satellite.
And when it goes, I want you to go with it.
Be there for you, be there for you.
This one didn't grab me. With its structure that Harry referred to, it comes across as more like an art piece than a pop song. I found it really hard to get into.
Spinning out waiting for you. Boyfriends, they think you're so easy.
Boyfriends was written right at the end of Fine Line.
We had the option to either rush it, get it on Fine Line, or we could wait. And there was something about this song, and I knew it would find its correct place.
Boyfriends could have been really pretentious in a way. Like Harry empathetically singing to women about how men can be could have been a bit too woke. I hate that term, but it kind of applies in the circumstance. But I found this song to be very moving. I even got a little bit choked up listening to it.
They don't know, they're just a misunderstanding.
It reminds me of John Mayer's Daughters, who of course played guitar on Daydreaming and Cinema. But another string legend appears on this track.
And I would love to thank Mr. Ben Harper, who is in the audience tonight, for coming and lending us his magic hands on a magic guitar.
And you can so hear Ben on this. This is an incredible song.
There was something in it where I felt like, okay, when I'm 50 and if I'm playing a show, maybe there's someone who heard it for the first time when they were like 15, and this is probably the song that they came to see. Love of my life, I'd always wanted to write a song about like home and loving England.
Take you with me every time I go away.
Definitely was kind of the most terrifying song for a long time because it's so bare.
Baby, you were the love of my life.
I wouldn't have guessed that this closing track was the most terrifying for Harry, but it does get to a point where it really is just him.
Just coordinates.
But his vocals are impeccable on this last track. And I love the echo effect on his voice because it makes it seem like he's getting farther away from us, like he's leaving us.
Not what I wanted to leave you behind.
And I was like, I really don't know what this is. And it was kind of one of those where Tom and Tyler were like, we really like it, trust us.
Baby, you were the love of my life.
Yeah, I love it.
So that is Harry's House. Fantastic. I gotta like kind of put together my first overall reaction to this. Best album he's ever done, and his previous two albums were very good. I loved him going into funk. It was completely unexpected and completely awesome. The album does eventually come back to the musical foundation that Harry is used to, and I wouldn't have minded him staying in the additions he'd built on a little bit longer. But even the songs that he comes back to the typical handiwork that we know him for are still very solid tracks. I'm trying to keep this house metaphor going here. There isn't one truly weak component, does that work on a metaphor? On the album, there isn't a weak song on the album, that's what I'm trying to say. I think it's going to get an Album of the Year nomination at the Grammys, and that race is already crazy with Kendrick Lamar, Robert Plant, and Alison Krauss and Silk Sonic. It's going to be quite the showdown, but this is a very well-built house, Harry. I give it an A-. What are your thoughts on the album?